Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. I am Larry McLeod. Alongside me is Greg Ginsberg, and in the production booth we've got Alex Simpson and Dennis Branch here to bring you a lot of racing tonight from Virginia International Raceway. We've got the World Challenge featuring a lot of classes and 2 split races. Greg Ginsberg is going to be joining us now for these races. Greg, how are you feeling about tonight's event?
Larry, first off, it is so good to be with you and all of the folks here with the Ricmotech World Challenge. And it is going to be a spectacular night of racing. I went back and watched a little bit of round 1 from Daytona just a few weeks ago. And the show that these 3 different classes put on was just absolutely spectacular. They're coming tonight to the 17-turn 3.27 mile Virginia International Raceway course in Alton, Virginia. Very, very different than what they saw at Daytona, and it should make for some amazing racing here.
Yeah, what you had seen at Daytona was a lot like the classic Rolex 24 mixed class racing, you know, long form and all that, pit stops throughout. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight, aren't we? We're going to be doing this as a couple of sprint races here a little bit, aren't we?
Exactly. So last week, or probably not last week, but 3 weeks ago, we had that one 70-minute race, an endurance race with the 3 different classes. We are splitting things up tonight. As you mentioned, it's going to be 2 40-minute races. We're going to have, first up is going to be the GTE class along with the GT3 drivers as well. They're going to show their mettle and see who is the best, who is the fastest here at Virginia International Raceway. And then once we've named our winners, we're then going to move over to the LMP drivers, LMP2 drivers. They are going to then have their 40-minute race. It's a little bit less traffic than they had to deal with a few weeks ago, but it's going to be some great racing nonetheless.
Yeah, the racing with these fields is always spectacular. What we had seen at Daytona was a couple of great battles, and I think it's going to be great to watch this format tonight a little bit, to have a chance to focus on the GT3, GTE battles. Maybe we didn't get a chance to see a lot of in that 70-minute kind of all-out battle with all 3 classes. We're going to be able to really focus in and see some more of that tonight, and we'll still be able to see some of that fantastic LMP battles like we had seen at the Daytona event 3 weeks ago. So I'm really looking forward to that here tonight, and be able to see some of this great talent on display.
Yeah, and so right now you can see we've got a number of our drivers on track already, trying to set their qualifying laps here in GT3 and GTE. Although it's 15 minutes for the session, each driver has 4 laps in order to set a fast qualifying time. We're watching right now Bobby Childs as he makes his way around the track. But Larry, you know, I think it can't be understated here how much different it is going to be for the GT3 and GTE drivers, especially the GT3 drivers who at Daytona were always having to watch the mirrors, looking for those headlights. It was the night race to see when the faster LMP cars were going to be coming up on them, and it really made for some challenging conditions, specifically for those drivers, the drivers in the Mercedes AMGs, the Ferraris, and the Lamborghini Huracans. And so a little bit different, you know, I would suspect at some point those GTE drivers are going to start to make their way through, but there should be at least a number of green flag laps for these drivers. Now, the one thing that we've been watching as these cars have driven around, we think that the GT3 and GTE drivers should be able to do this 40-minute race with no pit stops. Now, they do all have to run, I believe, with only a maximum, I have to check on this, if it's either a 75 or 85% fuel fill. I believe it is an 85% fuel fill, but they should be able to make their way all the way to the end. Now, one of the things that we also have done for this track is there's a little bit of a little balance of performance that we've worked in for the different classes here to even things out. This is not based necessarily on the finishes from Daytona, but more on how Virginia International Raceway races. And in the GTE class, the Porsche 911s, they get bumped about 1% on their maximum horsepower, and in GT3, a little bit less than 1 horsepower, 0.7 of a horsepower ding for the Lamborghini Huracan. So I don't know how much of that's going to affect them over the course of a 40-minute race, but just noted that that's there, that all of those Huracan drivers and all those Porsche drivers are going to have to worry about.
A track like this, and we've seen this track used. It's a legendary facility here in Virginia, here at VIR. It's really one of those, you have to kind of tame the beast, and cars like these GT cars have got a lot of work to do to get around this place, really learning how to hike these curbs. There's a lot of challenge to doing it, and now to learn a little bit more about this track, why don't we go through our track guide. I'll cue that up.
Welcome everyone to Virginia International Raceway. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide. And today we come to you from Alton, Virginia in the U.S., right along that North Carolina border. This track was constructed in 1957 by 4 sports car enthusiasts who sought out this 1,200-acre property of beautiful rolling hills to build this incredible sports car track. The first event was held here in August of 1957 and must have been quite a spectacle to see, as road racing was becoming so popular at the time here in the U.S. And the first winner here at VIR was Ed Hugas in his 1956 Alfa Romeo. This track has 130 feet of elevation changes and is certainly a technical one for drivers to master. Let's go ahead and begin our track guide as we roll up the front straightaway. Get through the gears, we notice our pit entry to the right, our flag stand here to our right, as well as we cross the stripe and head down this very fast entry into turn 1. We're going to get on those brakes about the 3 marker there, get all the way down into second gear. Very tight entry on radius here as it opens up, coming out of turn 2. We'll head down into turn 3 here, very fast entry, and then it tightens up a little bit here for the second part. Come out of here, look for that tight left-hander of what's known as the left hook. Turn 4, and then back to the right into 5, then up into 5A. This takes us into what's known as the snake. Very difficult section here to get that throttle just right. Come up into this short chute under the bridge and to head to one of my favorite portions of the track, the uphill S's. Pretty much flat out through this section. Want to just glide right over those curbs. Nice entry down into South Bend here. This is a tough section. Right over the crest, stay far to the right, back to the left. We get down through the gears and into this very infamous Oak Tree corner. Get down into first gear, get a good rotation. Want to get some good speed coming up onto this big long backstretch. This is where all the overtaking takes place. That's right, a lot of draft here on this uphill straightaway, and it's a very long one at that. We'll be reaching speeds of upwards of 160 plus miles an hour as we come up into what's known as the roller coaster. Back to the left, back to the right, very tight section, back on throttle, down into the dip to the left, back out to the right to track out for the entrance into what's known as Hog Pen. Back down to the right, through turn 17, up through the gears, and this will bring us right back out onto that front straightaway as we head to that stripe once again. Well, there you go. There's your track guide here in Alton, Virginia at VIR Raceway. We appreciate you being with us.
All right, and there you go. That is 17 turns, 3.27 miles of Danville, Virginia pavement. So, of course, qualifying continues on right now. But Larry, let's look back. We've talked a little bit about what we saw a couple of weeks ago. Whoa!
There's John Allen a little bit spinning
there. Yeah, let's take a look back to these point standings after the first race weekend at Daytona. We're going to take a look first here at the GTE standings. And sitting atop the leaderboard right now is Elvis Rankin with Cameron Martineau and Shinsuke Kuna, your top three drivers here. You can already see that that Rankin has a pretty good points advantage already going into the second weekend. Then we've got Anthony Kernan, Jennifer McDonald, Jason Allen, Travis Schwenke, Mac Miller, Nathan Manning, and Evan Wood rounding out the top 10. The way we do things here is we give 35 points for first place, 32 for second, 30th for third, then 28 and 26, and then start counting down 1 point from there. But we also give bonus points based on those drivers that drive clean. If you have 0 to 6 incident points during the race, we give you an extra point. If you go over 20 and you get 20 to 25, we actually subtract a point from you. And if you go over 26, you're going to end up getting a drive-through penalty during the race. Now, interesting thing, Larry, and this is to promote, I guess, the clean racing and also to give drivers a great opportunity to race. We have a number of different practice sessions during the week, and if you put in 30 minutes of practice during the week, you'll also get a bonus point. So
lots of ways to earn bonus points up here. So that's how you can get up to that 39. Also for pole position and a few other things. But take a look real quick at the GT3 standings here. Winning that first event and getting a couple of bonus points there is John Allen. And we did just see him in that that black one of the Huracans there spinning out a moment ago, but he did win the first round over Kyle Burney. Chris Thorman in third, Kevin Carlisle in fourth, David Payton in fifth, Bren Haran in sixth, Steve Daniel seventh, Scott Brooks in eighth, Jeff Jacobs in ninth, Mike Taylor in 10th here in your GT3 after one round of racing. And it's going to be some pretty hotly contested racing here tonight. We'll be able to focus a lot more on those battles here without having to be watching the LMP2 cars. They're going to get their own race tonight. It's only a 40-minute sprint, no pit stops required, as Greg, as you were saying. So there's going to be a little bit different strategy. That pit stop plays a big part of these races. Without having that, it's going to come down to a lot of raw speed. You're going to have to really make up those moves. You can't wait for a pit stop to make those jumps.
No, you certainly cannot. You're going to end up having to pretty much go straight from the drop of the green flag and run it all the way to the end here. Should make for some very good battles. I believe we're watching right now. It's I believe that's the 31 car that we're watching make his way around. A little bit of brake lock up there going into turn one. That's probably not going to help in setting a fast lap.
That is Cameron Martineau, who hasn't actually put a lap in yet.
Yeah.
So getting a bit of a late start for Cameron, hoping to get something in and maybe pull himself out of the bottom of the order here. Not sure what Cameron's story is here this evening, but he's only got a couple minutes here to get a lap in the books. As you look at the top of the leaders here, as we've got just a couple minutes left, Elvis Rankin has turned all 4 of his laps at 141.6, has got him on provisional pole. Mike Dam has got 3 laps plus in, but you can see he's already in the pit, so he's not going to turn any more. Just 23 thousandths off of Elvis's time, so those guys sitting 1 and 2. Schwenke and Jennifer McDonald, good showing there for her as well. They appear to have finished all of their laps. Jason Allen, Nathan Manning, also some strong showings. I think they're all done. Other drivers on flyers right now. Jordy Fike just finishing a lap, currently 9th.
Yeah, and it looks like Robert Hartley just finished a lap as well in the number 3 car, GTE Chevy Corvette, turns a 142.24.
Yeah, good move there to get himself up into that 4th and start in the 2nd row if that holds up.
Oh, that's John Allen again.
And John Allen off.
Yeah, John having some issues there, or either that or just looking for a lot of camera time. There's Martineau once again, and we mentioned Martineau has not set a time, and he's just now gone off. Now, for everybody watching at home, the cars that have the red number boards, and you'll see also red mirrors and red windshield banners, those are our GTE cars. The cars on track that have the green number boards, mirrors, and windshield banners, those are our GT3 cars. Hopefully that'll make it a little easier for you to track the action.
Yeah, rough start there for Cameron Martineau. Probably not going to be able to get a full lap in. It's just about a minute and a half left here, considering where he is. And
You know, we're just watching Andre Saunders in the number 72 BMW puts that car around. Saunders currently sitting 14th in GTE. That is tail end Charlie currently in the class. So trying to see if he can move his way up. But I believe this may have been his last lap, Larry.
Yeah. A little bit of replay here for you. So John Allen just coming around South Bend there, one of those spots.
Yeah.
Classic way to lose the tail end is coming around South Bend. That bottom just drops out on you.
Yeah, it drops out. You breathe the throttle just a little bit, which makes the rear end even more loose, and you roll down the hill there. And yeah, not uncommon to see drivers go off just like that, back across the track, driver's left, and just a small kiss of the tire wall there as he goes and continues. We're back on board with Cameron Martineau in the number 31 Porsche as he makes his way now down the long back straight here over at Virginia International Raceway and sets himself up for the roller coaster, and we'll have to see what kind of a time he can set as he rolls down the hill here, just about to complete that last lap.
Not sure he's going to make it around. We'll see how this rolls through. I think he's going to run out of time before he finishes. He may end up on the back row of those GTE cars, as it looks like he's going to.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the start of our race. We'll get our grid up here and walk you through the starting grid for the Ricmotech World Challenge Round 2, and on pole position for the second week in a row, it's Elvis Rankin. Alongside him, Mike Dam. On the second row, Travis Schwenke and Robert Hartley. Third row will be Jennifer McDonald and Jason Allen. On the fourth row, Nathan Manning and Tony Kernan. Making up the fifth row, Jordy Fike and Kevin Ford. On the sixth row, it's going to be Russ Ruddick and Baron Glover. On the seventh row, Bruno Belny and Andre Saunders. And on the last row, we just saw him, Cameron Martineau, with a little bit of work to do. And Greg, you want to bring us the GT3 grid?
All right, yeah, let's take a look at GT3. We're starting on the front row. Your pole sitter is Kyle Burney, and right next to him will be Kevin Carlisle. Starting on row 2, it'll be Evan Peichel with John Allen starting in 4th. Then we've got Jason Burney starting 5th. He'll be on the inside of the 3rd row with Chris Torman right next to him. Then on the 4th row, we have, and we just lost the 4th row.
It was Edgar Santinelli.
Yeah, let's go there. Edgar Santinelli and Randall McGrew starting 7th and 8th. Then we've got Jeff Jacobs and Steve Daniel will start on the 4th row. Then we've got Bobby Childs and Greg Brockway starting 11th and 12th. Brennan Horan and Scott Brooks 13th and 14th. And rounding out the GT3 field will be Michael Key.
All right, and with that, we will get ourselves a full lap of warm-up. If these drivers get a chance to get a little bit of heat in the tires, heat in the brakes. And, Greg, you know, this kind of a 40-minute sprint, a little bit different than our 75-minute races we've had in the previous round. What kind of strategy do you think these drivers are going to be planning for here in this type of a race?
Well, I think we hit it right off the bat. Is for most of them, I think they're probably going to be going at it from the get-go. Try to make up as many for those drivers that are starting off in the rear. For example, like an Andre Saunders or Cameron Martineau, they're going to want to probably try to make up as much ground as they can on the first number of laps. Whereas, of course, our drivers at the front, and we've got a whole bunch of teammates there sitting up at the front of the field.
Those Orion cars.
Yeah, they're going to want to get in line. They're going to want to really be a little bit cautious, get some heat in the tires, get some heat in the brakes, and try to break away from the rest of the field. Back a little bit further when we take a look at the GT3 class, I think we're going to find things a little bit different for them, that we don't have all the teammates grouped together at the front of the field, and I think it's probably going to be battle on right from the get-go here. Now,
yeah,
again,
the other thing I was going to ask, though, also about this track VIR and the way you've been here many times. I think you've even raced here yourself.
I have raced here many a time, yes.
Yeah, the challenge of going around here, where are the real gotcha spots that, especially in a high horsepower, you know, cars, these rear engine, in the case of the Porsches, the rear engine, rear drive, everybody else kind of mid-engine stuff, where's the real gotcha that these guys are going to be having trouble with, maybe going side by side for position?
Well, I think, you know, and we saw where John Allen had problems in qualifying coming up through South Bend, through those uphill S's. There's always a tendency as the drivers come through this section right here, Snake, coming through turns 5 and 6, and then there's the very short run underneath the bridge heading over towards the uphill S's to try and get a pass done here. But many times you're going to see the drivers go in side by side into the S's, and those are 115, 120 mile per hour switchbacks going up the hill, and it really makes things difficult, especially if they're side by side coming back, coming through South Bend. So that is definitely going to be a challenge. What you're also going to find, and where these drivers are going to have to be very, very careful, is right after that South Bend section, coming through Oak Tree, at least for the first couple laps. They're going to want to be very careful there. We even saw it during the track map, the drive around. It is not uncommon with these high horsepower cars, especially if you turn in just a little bit early there, to break the rear end of the car loose, and that can be really a painful thing as we get down onto this very long back straight at VIR. If you don't get a good run out of Oak Tree, which is really one of the slowest corners here on the track, you can just get bum rushed going all the way down towards the end, past Madison Avenue, over towards the roller coaster. So something definitely to be careful of.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the on the first lap as this whole pack of GTEs come screaming down Madison Avenue and just getting up there to make their first run down that roller coaster, to see what's it going to be like. Do teammates play nice when they get go, or are they going to be just gloves off right from the start?
Yeah, now you'll see that we've got a very large gap between our GTE and GT3 cars. The first group, the GTE drivers, of course, will get that green flag at the start-finish line. For our second group, as they come down the roller coaster and through the turn known as Hog Pen, the very last turn here at VIR, turn 17. From there, it's pretty much battle on for the GT3 cars. And you can see that they're here coming down Madison Avenue, coming down the back straight. Haven't started gridding up yet. But as they crest the top of turn 14, the top of the roller coaster, you're going to see them get in line as our drivers now in GTE come through Hog Pen, get ready, come onto the front straight here at Virginia International Raceway, waiting for that green flag. And it is now green, and our drivers are off, and you can see getting a great jump from the get-go is Elvis Rankin in the number one. He's got about a 2.5 car length lead, following him right on through. Travis Schwenke gets to around Mike Dam. Oh, and a lot of brake lock up there, and going off track, Travis Schwenke now off in the grass. He's going to fall back, but that really opens things up for our drivers up at the front, Rankin, Allen, and Mike Dam, who moves up into third.
It went from the great start to the terrible start for Travis Schwenke. He went all the way up there from 5th to 2nd under braking. He just suddenly went off the end there in turn 1. Now he's going to have to get right past the whole field to make up any ground. But the one who now comes out here with a great start there is Jason Allen to get up in front of all those Orion cars. Now he finds himself up in the second spot.
All right, and now our second group, the GT3 drivers, they are now coming down into turn number 1 for the very first time. We've got Kyle Burney in the number 33 Mercedes. He's got about a 2.5 car length lead over Kevin Carlisle and Evan Peichel, and then John Allen in that number 101 car, looking to see if he can settle that Lamborghini down a little bit. He had some issues in qualifying. He's sitting back and forth, about a car length and a half back. Right back behind him is Jason Burney in the Mercedes, the number 15 car. But let's jump back up to our leaders as they make their way down the long back straight here at VIR for the very first time. And as they now come into the roller coaster, start their way down the hill, it's Elvis Rankin in the number 1 car. He's got about a half a car length on Allen, Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, and then about another 5 car lengths back to get to Tony Kernan as they now make their way onto the straight. And Rankin now starting to walk away from the rest of the field here.
He is, and Mike Dam knows this is his time to pounce. He cannot wait any longer to get around Jason Allen, and there he goes to the inside. He's got to make this stick because he can try and make up some ground to catch up to his teammate, Elvis Rankin. And we get contact behind him as it looks like Hartley has gotten into Allen there.
Yeah, Hartley, a lot of brake lock up going down into turn number 1, gets into the back of the Porsche. They do both manage to continue, but going into lap number 2, I'm sure not what those two drivers are looking for.
Wouldn't be surprised to see the officials just take a look at that. Is there a deficit contact there? It looked to me like they were kind of separated, but it does bottleneck a little bit in the middle there in turn 1. Sometimes hard to judge whether you've got somebody on your inside there or not, so we'll see how that looks like. But the beneficiary of that looks like Jennifer McDonald.
Jennifer McDonald,
may have
exactly.
been the one that actually wins out in that whole battle. She's got herself up there into that, I think, third spot right now. We're waiting for the timing and scoring to get ourselves put it all straightened out.
Yeah, I
Tony
believe.
Kernan also may have gotten himself some movement up there into the top three.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Tony Kernan is now sitting up in third with McDonald right behind him as they now make their way through Snake and onto that run down towards the uphill S's. But we can see now Elvis Rankin, he has just checked out on this GT3 field as we jump back now over towards the on the GTE field, I'm sorry, to GT3. As we have now, let's take a look here. We've got still Kyle Burney in the lead. We're looking a little bit further back in the field, though, as these drivers are starting to make their way down.
Here in the GTE field, you got Kevin Ford leading this train behind him. He's got Flake, Reddick, and Hartley not too far behind him, but he made a pretty good run coming out of the hog pen there to get a run and get a little bit of daylight between himself and the folks behind him. Not much, though. Kind of goes away quickly with those Corvettes screaming at you down that front straight.
Yeah, and that is a good battle going on right now. That is for sixth with Ford, Fike, Ruddock, Hartley all at it as they now make their way into the into left hook and make their way through. And it looks like that Corvette might be holding up the train just a little bit. That is Jordan Fike in the number 09 car.
Look at the tail of this train. You've got Robert Hartley and Jason Allen, the two guys that were just off in turn one a couple laps ago. Now they're right behind Russ Ruddock. So you've got Kevin Ford, Russ Ruddock, Jordy Fike there battling it out. Hartley and Allen trying to get around them because they think that their pace is a little bit stronger.
A little bit stronger, exactly.
They got to get a run here off of Oak Tree to try and get the pass before the end of Madison Avenue. Yeah,
and you can see that run coming out of South Bend. You end up coming up and setting up for Oak Tree very, very quickly in these high-speed cars. Not a lot of time to affect the pass right there. Just want to actually carry more speed and try to do it on the back straight here. See if you can stay in the draft as these drivers now making their way down the back straight here. You get that slight little dip and then a left turn as you get hard on the brakes into the roller coaster over at turn 14 as we watch those two Corvettes followed very closely by Hartley and Allen, as you mentioned, trying to get their way back up to what they feel is their rightful place.
It seems there like Hartley almost made that, coming in real quick. I don't know what the pit stop there is for Hartley. He maybe has a penalty to serve, perhaps. I'm not sure what the...
Yeah, I have a feeling that is probably from the incident that we saw down at turn 1 on lap number 2.
Could be a penalty serving there, which we did speculate that might be happening. But what that does mean is it now leaves Jason Allen with a chance to now fight at the back of Russ Ruddock and Jordy Fike as they come around NASCAR Bend and work their way towards turn 4. There's a tight battle here with a couple of different makes. If you got the Porsche trying to make its way through the Corvette, and of course you got Kevin Ford out in front there, just barely ahead in his BMW.
Yeah, and so, we mentioned at the lead into this race that the Porsches had a little bit of horsepower lopped off the top for balance of performance here at VIR, and it has, as you can see, made for some very close racing. Of course, don't tell that to Elvis Rankin.
He doesn't seem to mind.
No, he doesn't seem to mind one bit as his Porsche 911 has now opened up after just, I believe, after 3 complete laps. He has a margin right now of almost 4 full seconds.
He's moving pretty good out in front there. He and teammate Mike Dam there trying to maintain pace as best he can with Tony Kernan there right now hanging on to third. Jennifer McDonald giving a run to Tony Kernan there for that third spot. Within draft distance for sure, but this train happening right now behind Jordy Fike as Kevin Ford has got a little bit of daylight, but Fike does not have any daylight to play with. Like his mirrors are full of 4 different cars. He better just put his head down, as they say, turn the mirrors down, because if he looks behind him, all he's going to see is 4 different cars.
Actually, all he's going to see is one car, because all those 4 are all in line. Here they spread out just a little bit, and we'll see coming down the inside.
3 wide into 1.
Yeah, looking for that move, and there we go. We've got a change, and so let's go and move. Looks like Jason Allen getting around Russ Ruddock, so move him up to 8th. And let's see here. Oh, a little late on the brakes. The 09 car of Jordy Fike over at turn number 3, and that has really started to bottle things up as they try to make their way through.
But still, yeah, but it still looks like Allen got around one of them, but still got Fike still out there leading this group. It just left a little bit more daylight to Kevin Ford now, almost 2 seconds ahead of them, where he continues. He's happy to see this little battling going on behind him, holding on to that 6th spot now for Kevin Ford.
Yeah, seeing 3 cars try to fit into left hook there, where it's hard to get even just 1.5 cars through there, was probably a very welcome sight for the moment. That even after we said that he probably ought to turn his mirrors down, that
that's so hard to do, isn't it?
Exactly. All right, let's take a look at this run here going into 14, and this is the battle now between Tony Kernan and Jennifer McDonald, and looked like McDonald had a little bit more pace.
She is giving everything she can right now.
Yeah.
She is definitely right on the tail for this 3rd spot behind Tony Kernan. She is not letting up.
Yeah, that BMW had a great run out of Oak Tree going down the back straight. Just ran out of room heading up towards the top of the roller coaster. We'll see how she does here coming down to 1, and you can see that BMW definitely has the pace in a straight line.
It sure does, and that might be that power difference that the Porsche may not have. She's using that to her advantage, though, in that BMW to make sure stretch the legs of that car. You know, you can see little puffs of dirt as she's trying to get those apexes just right and get that big BMW. That BMW is a whole lot of car around this track. This VIR is a very narrow track. You don't really notice it as much until you get into the car and drive around this place. But it definitely, and the aptly named Snake, is a very snaky type of track around this Southern Virginia hillside. It is very much a narrow place. It's tough to take a big car like that BMW and wrestle it through this place.
Yeah, but you can see that these drivers, they use every bit of the curbing here at VIR, and VIR is curbing very, very flat, does not really unsettle the cars all that much, but they'll use not only that curbing, but a lot of the grass to the inside as well to widen this track out as much as possible. Now look at this battle as they come up the hill here with looks like Jason Allen trying to make a move on Jordy Fike as they came through Snake and made their way towards the S's. That Porsche all over the back of the Corvette, and here I think is where the Porsche might suffer a little bit.
He's going to take some draft if he can and make a move. Because I think the only 2 chances he has to pass here is you've either got to get a run at the hog pen, or you can do what he's doing right now and get the run at the problem. Now he's on the hard side to pass, and he's got extra traffic there with a Huracan there in GT3, but that extra piece of draft might have actually helped him.
Yeah, and he got it done. So now move Jason Allen up into 7th place, put Jordy Fike back into 8th as they start to roll down the hill here.
And remember, at one point, Jason Allen in this race was in 2nd spot before that contact and spin in turn 1 on lap 2 or 3, I believe. So he's working his way back up there, but he's got a long way to go.
Long way to go. Of course, we're only about 10 minutes into a 40-minute race, so just a half hour. Or just under a half hour still to go, plenty of time, but really on the back foot here early is Jason Allen. All right, coming down into turn 1, another move by the Corvette, hard on the brakes, the number 16 of Travis Schwenke, who also had those issues right from the get-go. He now makes a break. He gets around Cameron Martineau in the number 31 car. Martineau having a great race.
We were talking about him in qualifying.
Yeah, he started off at the very rear of the GTE field. He started off in 15th position, and he has now made his way up to 10th. So 5 spots right off the get-go here in GTE.
Yeah, great way to be moving up there. So we got a battle going on now. Looks like Santinelli and McGrew here in GT3. The battle here for 5th in the GT3 class, and right behind them, they better look out. They've got Jeff Jacobs and Chris Thorman. Not too far back, and Steve Daniel as well. So these two, although battling for 5th, they've got the 7, 8, 9 trail right behind them. You can see in that shot coming down this front straightaway.
Yeah, McGrew has the position going into turn 1. We'll have to see if he can make that stick, and he does. So move the number 67 car now up to 5th in GT3 and drop Santinelli back into 6th as they now make their way through Snake. And you can see here, all lined up in a row, much like we were watching in GTE just a few moments ago.
Yeah, things are still kind of shaking out a little bit. Oh, here's that battle again as we were talking a moment ago. This should be the Jennifer McDonald and Tony Kernan. Can she get to the inside and make the stick in 1? She can't quite get all the way under. She's going to stay behind for one more lap.
Yeah, I was going to say one more lap, and that set Kernan up for turns 3. And now, trying to sneak underneath over and left hook. Oh, and McDonald goes around at turn 3.
She got aggressive. She saw an opening. She started to take that opening a little bit, but we've seen that turn 3, the uneven pavement there, gets you a little bit uneasy, and looks like the car got a little squirrely on her. Started to go. She didn't quite go fully around, but she did lose some critical time there. Probably lost about 7-8 seconds of time. Lost one track position. She's got to get together and put to work again and see if she can gain some of that back.
Yeah, it's real tough there. You come out of turn 1, you got that slight little left-hand bend before you get to 3, and we had pardon me, Kernan leave the door open. She went for it, and when he came down to the apex, she just really didn't have anywhere to go, and let out of the throttle, and the car went around. All right, let's jump back into the battle now with Fike and Martineau. This is the battle for 9th here in GTE as they make their way through Oak Tree and onto the back straight. And Martineau, as we said, he's on a bit of a run there. Did not have a good qualifying session, put the car around a couple times, started at the tail end of the GTE field, but he's starting to make his way through, and we'll have to keep watching. We'll check back in on this battle here. It looks like he might have something for Fike in another lap or so, as they are now nose-tail, a little bit of brake lock-up from Martineau heading down into the roller coaster. But great battle here, and believe there was we have the battle right ahead of them with Schwenke, Allen, and Ford as well.
And keep in mind with Martineau, he finished 2nd at Daytona in the GTE class. He is no slouch in this. I suspect, I mean, let's take a moment here of the world of reality. I suspect that perhaps he is, we got Kevin Ford, a bit of a spin at the same time as Jason Allen goes off. We got all kinds of hecticness going on here down in turn 1.
Yeah, and Jason Allen now losing a number of positions. Driver that made out very well from that was Kevin Ford in the BMW, the number 32 car. So move Ford now up to 7th. Schwenke, who of course was having issues early on in the race, he's now up to 6th with that melee. And Martineau is now up to 8th. So
Martineau is the real winner in that, because he didn't lose momentum.
Yeah.
Kevin Ford lost a lot of momentum because he had parked it there in little 01 as Martineau had come up on him. I was just saying that Martineau, seeing what he was doing there in qualifying, makes you wonder if, hey, the reality is sim racing is a hobby for a lot of folks and not a career. My suspicion is that perhaps he didn't get a lot of time to practice this week and didn't get on early enough onto his sim rig tonight. But he's got the wheels, he's got the speed. My guess is he just needed a few laps under his belt to get his rhythm in, and that's what we're seeing right now as he's made his way up to 8th, and the way he's hounding on the back of Kevin Ford, he's going to be looking at 7th here momentarily. Yeah,
I was going to say a little seat time, a little heat in the tires, and that he couldn't get done in 4 laps of qualifying. And that car looks very different now than it did 20 minutes ago as they come now down into the roller coaster. And Martineau all over the back of Kevin Ford, and definitely has the pace as they make their way down the hill. We'll have to see if he can make his way around. But and you can see now that BMW not looking very happy. Of course, Hogpen, that last turn at VIR, it is downhill, it's off camber, and it is very hard to keep that car balanced and to get a good run. But you can see now as they come down into turn 1, Martineau takes away the apex, and he's going to drive Ford all the way out to the outside. And now we see Cameron Martineau moving up to 7th in GTE.
Kevin Ford left that door open. He got a little bit wide into braking. He broke just a bit too late, pushed himself all by himself to the outside of 1, and Martineau just snuck to the inside, hugged that curb all the way through, and just enough power to get himself through that corner and out of there, and snuck in front of Kevin Ford to all the way by, so he was able to then get ahead. Now I'll be curious to see how can he pull away. And you can see already, look at him coming through these S's. Uphill, he's already checking out from this group.
And looking at Jason Allen, who of course had that off just about 2 laps ago, he now tries to sneak right underneath Jordy Fike. Cannot get it done again with maybe in an MX-5 you could make that pass coming out of South Bend, but these cars just make up too much ground too quickly to make that pass before you get into Oak Tree, and it's going to take at least another half lap, it looks like, for Jason Allen to affect the pass here on Jordy Fike.
Yeah, it's truly an art form to be able to make that pass, to be able to get just the right momentum. So, you think you can get in. These Porsches got pretty good brakes. You come into Oak Tree, and suddenly you're on the brakes where you think you need to be, and you're right on someone's tail in Oak Tree, but that's not the way to get a run on somebody. You almost have to give yourself that gap under braking so that you can get the better run than they do coming off of Oak Tree and get down Madison Avenue. And it's really a technique to it. You almost have to give up a little bit under braking to get the better exit.
Yes. And now I'll tell you, I was watching the Corvette come down through the roller coaster, not looking very happy. Yep, and here you go, as we now have the Porsche gets underneath Kevin Ford and Jordy Fike, pardon me. And so Jason Allen now takes over 9th place. Great move there. I was going to say that Corvette just did not look strong coming down the roller coaster. Allen saw Fike get very defensive right at the entrance to the roller coaster and the Corvette got a horrible exit onto the front straight out of Hog Pen. So there you go, big change in position there. Next in line for Jason Allen is Kevin Ford in the 32. All right, so let's jump over now, Larry, to our GT3 battles.
Yeah, over in the GT3s, they're a little bit spread out, but we do have a good battle going on here for this 4th, 5th, and 6th battles here in GT3. Down to 7th, they're all on that 1 second gap between them. Here between from Randall McGrew, Edgar Santinelli, Jeff Jacobs, Steve Daniel, all running pretty close here as they come down the front straight into turn 1. You can see Jeff Jacobs there with the Street Survival livery there on his Mercedes AMG. Yeah,
and this is the battle for 4th in GT3. A little wide there going into 3 for the number 38 car, but gets things under control now through left hook, does not lose the ground. You know, as you mentioned, about a full, about 3/4 of a second separating each one of those cars, about 5 car lengths. So not much you're going to give up if you're a couple inches off the apex there.
I'm going to point this out. Somewhere here in his last lap or so, Elvis Rankin has lost the lead to Mike Dam. And we're going to have to figure out where that happened. We've been watching these great battles elsewhere in GTE and GT3. We're going to have to find out where Mike Dam got by and what happened to Elvis Rankin. But he's now in 2nd spot, about 4.5 seconds behind his teammate, Mike Dam.
All right, let's see. Let's go to the videotape, and here we go.
Replay here.
Going into Oak Tree.
Yep, locks it up. Locks it up. You do not get ABS in your GTE cars. We've seen this. It's ironic that Greg, you and I both worked the SCCA runoffs at VIR a couple of years ago, and we had seen the leader of a race walking away from a race, locking up his brakes and going into Oak Tree. We'd seen that at least once. One of those was able to come back and win his race. Another one did not.
That is correct. One of them ended up planted in the gravel trap. The other one had enough of a lead built up that he was able to get the car back out on track and never skipped the beat to win his national championship race here.
Yes.
But
that was
definitely,
STL, I think, that managed to recover and win the race.
That is correct. It was Denny Stain in his STL Mazda MX-5. But we're taking a look now here, and there is our leader, Mike Dam, in the number 93 car. We'll have to track and see how far back, and there he's just
traffic.
Now. Just coming through left hook there is our leader, and Elvis Rankin. He is a couple seconds back. We'll have to see if he can make his way up, but he's got a lot of GT3 traffic that he's going to have to work his way through in order to get up to our leader.
This is the fun part of these races. We're right here about that halfway point, and so they're both going to be mixing their way through these GT3 cars as traffic. So now it's a matter of who can do the better job of getting through traffic. It's no longer about pure pace. And that's the mistake that Elvis Rankin made. He threw away his chance under pure pace, and now he's got to have luck on his side to make the right moves here in traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, as he tries to make his way through, a lot of these GT3 drivers that are racing for position, they're not going to be so willing to just to let that car through and give up their race. You can see right now the number 263 car. That's Evan Peichel, not very happy about having to give up that spot to Elvis Rankin as he makes his way down the hill.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and right in front of him, I think he's got Steve Daniel We've
Yeah,
got
he's
Steve
got,
Daniel and Chris Thorman right in front of him.
I was just going to say he's got Steve Daniel. This is the battle for 7th right now in GT3. And so Rankin now coming down the inside on the front straight, try to get clear of that battle. And he does manage to do so. So he'll have a little bit of clean running here until he gets up to the next car in line, which is going to be Jeff Jacobs in the number 38 car.
But you notice in doing all this, he had gotten that lead down to about 3.6 or 3.7. Now it had grown over 5 seconds. Now he's at 4.7 or so. So yeah, he had lost about a second or so while he had to wait down through the roller coaster to get by those GT3 cars. Those critical times. So now it's Mike Dam's turn on the next time through to see can he get by.
All right, so let's jump back and we're going to take a look at that replay. This is Elvis Rankin with that issue that he had a little bit earlier, and there he goes, hard under braking, coming down towards Oak Tree, and just put it off into the grass, as Larry said. Managed to have not exactly the safest of recoveries there. Looks like, was that John Allen that he had joined right in front of as he makes his way back down the back straight there. But you know, I think watching for the cars around him perhaps wasn't necessarily top of mind.
May not have been first thing on his mind, no.
Yeah.
Might have been a few four-letter words going through his mind. Shoot and darn, I think, might have been the other two is going through his mind at that point. But he's got his work cut out for him now. But it's not an impossible feat. He had built a lead of around 4 or 5 seconds in about 18 minutes. Now he's got to go do the same thing, except he's got to go gain that 4 or 5 seconds in the next 16 minutes. As we've got a 40-minute race, sprints, no pit stops. So he's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to fight through traffic to do it.
And as you can see, Greg Brockway in the number 62 Lamborghini, he is under investigation for an unsafe re-entry after spinning. Brockway currently running down in 13th place in GT3. We're back to the battle here between Jennifer McDonald and Travis Schwenke. This is the battle for 5th in GTE. Remember, just a couple laps ago, McDonald had that off over at turn 3, and she comes right back through that corner looking very strong. As she tries to make her way back up through the field, but being hounded there by the Corvette of Schwenke.
To tell you what, this race so far has been a race of attrition, as we got almost bump drafting down the front straight here in this battle. It's just as it's Hartley getting around Kevin Ford here.
Yeah, and
man, he was up under the back of that BMW as they went past the starter stand.
Yep, gets that time. Oh, and a little bit of a wiggle there from Kevin Ford under braking.
Kevin's had a couple of times tonight where he's been going through that corner, and anytime under braking, he's been struggling a little bit in that BMW. I'm wondering if he's got that brake bias set heavily to the rear to get it to rotate correctly, but sometimes it makes it a bit of a handful in a place like this.
All right, and we're back to Martineau, who again started 15th, started at the tail end of the GTE field. He is now up to 7th as he makes his way through, but he is getting hounded right now by Jason Allen, who is, also did not have a great start to this race. He's trying to make his way back up through the field. Currently sitting in 8th place. A little bit of lockup there, and as they come down the roller coaster.
A little bit of driving with your mirrors, unfortunately, for Martineau, and it's going to leave him really the victim here if he can't get a good run up a hog pen. But speaking of hog pen, someone's going to be out there visiting, and it's going to be Jason Allen.
Jason Allen, look at that. Ooh, barely holds onto the car, but you can see how much momentum he lost just to keep all 4 wheels on the pavement. He lost almost 10 car lengths to Martineau. So Martineau, maybe this next time by doesn't need to look in his mirrors quite so much.
Yeah, for a lap or two at least. But yeah, that was pretty close for Allen. You recall the spring race at VIR about 2 years ago when Spec Miata was out there in the rain, and about 4 or 5 Miatas ended up about 150 feet out there in that mud pit where the old hog pen used to be. And because once you go down off that slide, especially when it's raining, you're never coming back.
No, not at all. All right, so we've got the number 93 Porsche, Mike Dam. He is trying to work his way around the GT3 of John Allen, the Lambo of John Allen in the 101 car. Allen currently running 2nd in GT3. He is a full 10 seconds off of our leader, Kyle Burney, in the number 33 Mercedes. So Bernie with a pretty substantial gap back to John Allen with just about a little bit more than 10 minutes left to go in this 40-minute race.
Yeah, Kyle Bernie, we have not been talking about him very much as we got a lot of different battles. We haven't been talking about him because no one's been battling with him, as he's just been putting in lap after lap of very clean, very fast times. You know, his last time by was I believe it was a 46.7 if I recall. I was just looking at that a second ago. Yeah, 46.7. His best laps of 46.5. So he's still turning laps right at his best. Still 10 seconds up on the GT3 field. No one's pressuring him, but he's just clicking away. He's just one of those hitting his marks, not backing down. It's the way you win a race, and you know at this point he's going to be the last one that the GTE front runners catch. Look at this. Nobody even in his front in his view. He's just out there like having a happy lapping day. Yeah, track day for him here. Now, before we jumped over to Bernie, did notice that Elvis Rankin starting to close things down on Mike Dam, our leader last time by, was a full second faster on lap number 16, and you can see as they come now onto the back straight here. It is only about 15, maybe 20 car lengths at most as they make their way down the back straight, and probably he can sniff a little bit of that exhaust already. Less than 2 seconds back.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much that gap changes as they cross the start-finish stripe. Yeah, it's still just about a little bit over 2 seconds as they come down the hill here now. As
Jason Burney lets both of the Porsche Team Orion cars by on one straightaway there, with Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin both getting the pass. It was nice of him to do, leaving these leaders to continue their battle onward without any interruption. So with about 11 minutes to go, less than 2 seconds now separating Elvis Rankin from his back to his top spot, but Mike Dam is hanging on to it and turning the fastest laps of the race there at that 42.001.
Yeah, turned up the wick just when he needed to. He was all of about 0.05 of a second faster than his teammate Elvis Rankin as they make their way through on turn 18 now. But looks like a little bit of an issue there for Mike Dam going through left hook, and that allows Rankin to close up just a little bit more. The gap now between those cars, 1.85 seconds.
And it's amazing how just a little bit of a wiggle in certain spots like left hook can put you out of rhythm to then get turn 5 right, which sets you all the way down the lower S's into the upper S's. That one little twitch. It's almost as damaging as not quite getting the exit of Oak Tree right. That's just how long the momentum will carry you. Yeah, I mean,
we always talk about VIR having great flow, and I think that proves it out. I mean, if you just juggle for one brief moment there, it can really destroy an entire 5 or 6 turn complex for you here.
Mike Dam trying to get that draft here. Look at this behind a GT3 car.
Yeah, and that's our leader in GT3, Kyle Bernie, that he's coming up right behind now as they head up over towards the top of the roller coaster. And we'll have to see here. I would suspect that that Dam is probably going to wait until they get out of Oak Tree. Certainly would not be the place to attempt to pass.
He couldn't do it earlier, so
that's going to
get
Rankin.
So they came down the way down the roller coaster, so they're 1.3 now behind them. That really helped out Elvis Rankin. Now Elvis is going to have to get stuck behind him probably through the whole turn 3-4 complex coming up shortly. We'll see if Elvis can do it. But look at Elvis's last lap time. Did the same thing, 1:42.0, that Mike Dam did the lap before. Now we'll see how quickly Elvis can get by our GT3 leader, Kyle Bernie.
And we can see that just being caught behind Bernie going down through the roller coaster was worth almost a half a second for that gap now as they make their way through. Oh, and look at this. Both drivers seem to have a little bit of trouble as they turn up the wick coming out of Snake, and now Elvis Rankin all over the back of his teammate Mike Dam as they make their way up through the S's here. And now we'll take a look and see, does Rankin make the move now, or does he try to draft past him going on the back straight? He's going to follow him through into turns 10 and 11 and through Oak Tree onto the back straight. Little touch of opposite lock as they come out, but he is firmly, Larry, locked in the draft.
He is. We'll see if it's enough. These cars aren't the best at drafting. They're not exactly like a winged car, but there is definitely a draft. We'll see if Mike Dam stays on his inside line. Elvis backs out a little bit, knows now's not the time.
Yeah, and it looked as though he didn't actually get the real effect of the draft until almost the last 500 feet or so of the back straight there. And that by that time, it was time to get on the binders and slow down. But now they come down the front straight, and you would expect to see it. Mike Dam protecting the inside as they go through that little kink on the front straight. And now as they come down, just a touch in from the driver's left. Just enough to hold off Rankin now as they make their way through one more time.
Yeah, these two teammates, they are teammates, but they do battle it out. We've seen them battle it out in some other cars. We've seen them battle it out in the Ricmotech series, in the GT4 cars. We've seen battling out in some other cars, in the Miatas, and here they are battling it out in the GTE Porsches. And at this point, gloves are off. There's no team orders when it comes to Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin.
Yeah, this is no Ferrari Formula One team here.
There's no multi-21 going on here in this field.
Mike, Elvis is faster than you. No. All right, so as they come down under braking, going into and setting up for Oak Tree. And you can see they're both using a little bit of the curbing on entrance, not that much, but they look almost like mirror images of one another as they come out of Oak Tree onto the back straight here, and once again keeping that same line as they roll down through Madison Avenue. That slight left-hander, you may see a little tap of the brakes right there as they set up, but they're coming up on some traffic here, Larry, at the top of the roller coaster. We'll have to see if they roll up on them before they get the hog pen. I don't think they will, so maybe it's not going to affect them as they roll down the hill here to complete lap number 20.
This is what I wonder, if Elvis is going to wait for a piece of traffic to come along and maybe use that as a bit of a pick, or if he's going to wait until maybe a mistake and hope that Dam makes somewhere just a little bit of a glitch on the brake and then he can pounce on and get up inside of them. Otherwise, if not, he's going to have to make a last lap hero move. They were probably about 2 laps away.
Yeah, I would say about 2 laps away from that suspected hero move. But now they're coming up on some traffic here, going into turn 3 and left hook, coming up on GT3 car, and and there you go. Well, let's see if that Lambo comes back across. Oh, and he rejoins just behind our 2 overall leaders. For a moment, I thought that was going to be the end, a very sad ending to this story.
They're going to go side by side, almost.
And Dam has the position going into the S's. He manages to hold on, but you can see the pace that Elvis Rankin, that allowed him to open up about a 5 or 6 second lead at the very start of this race. He definitely has it right here. A little early turn in from Dam going through Oak Tree. That might affect his exit speed just a little bit, Larry.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's where Elvis continues to pressure, but I think at some point we're going to get to about 1 more lap of this, and he's going to lose his patience and has to stick his nose in somewhere. It's whether or not he can make that stick.
Yeah, now we've seen the last 3 laps. He's been very, I don't want to say cautious, but he hasn't tried anything going down in turn 1. He's been fairly close. If he thought that he could get late on the brakes, he might have had position, but I think Dan also is sitting out there. And oh, look at this as they come through now with the GT3 car right ahead. And Rankin for a moment there was thinking about going to the apex, and there was a Lamborghini right where he planned on placing that car. Had to follow Mike Dam through. Wow. All right, so this time Dam a little bit defensive going into turn 1.
It's getting dicey in here.
Yes, it is, but they've got some clear running now, at least for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 turns. All right, and oh yeah, you can see a little bit of brake lock up. I think they know what's coming up right behind them. I'm sure their spotters have probably told them exactly what's coming here, as we've got now Mike Dam in the number 93 Porsche 911, and Elvis Rankin in the number 1, the 2 Orion teammates, as they now make their way through Snake, come under the bridge, headlights a flashing, and they go through the S's one more time. And they're going to come up on some GT3 traffic, I think, Larry, probably just around the exit of Oak Tree, which is probably as best as they could have hoped for. And they may be close enough.
That's going to be an extra bit of delay there for Rankin as he catches some dirt coming off Oak Tree. That's going to give some daylight to Mike Dam. Mike Dam's going to catch these GT3 cars probably at the bottom of the roller coaster, which is the worst place as we've seen already. Yeah. He's hoping to maybe catch them on the front straight so we can get down the roller coaster quickly.
But I'll tell you, Rankin made up a ton of ground, even with that horrible exit and that run through the dirt. Drivers left at the exit of Oak Tree. He's still only about 4 car lengths back, did not lose a lot of ground. But here we go once again, as Mike Dam, I think, is going to get held up just a little bit as they come now onto the back straight, and he's going to have to start.
He just split the difference right through them.
There you go.
A couple of GTE cars, as Elvis does the same thing. And battle is on. Should be 2 laps to go here as they've just crossed the start-finish stripe.
Yeah, we've got just about 2 minutes left to go on the clock, and as we're running the laps in the 142 range, they should have enough time for one more lap. So on the penultimate lap here, lap number 23, Elvis Rankin now right back up to the gearbox of our leader, Mike Dam, as they make their way through turn 5. And now this is where we saw just 3 laps ago, Larry, where Rankin had gotten a spectacular run, had actually made it up almost side by side with Dam as they came into the S's, but not quite close enough this time by as they pop over the curbing here, probably at about 130. He's going to hit himself right to the
back of him, though. Now it's going to come down to who can get this run off Oak Tree. The last time we had seen this, Rankin had got himself out of the dirt on the exit of Oak Tree. He's got to be clean this time if he wants to try and make a pass.
And you'll notice he turned in just a little bit later that time, allowed him to open up the exit of the turn, got a great run, and he is now locked in here. And I would bet that he's going to try to make the move right here at the top of the roller coaster.
To avoid having to make a last lap hero.
And here we go. Steps to the inside.
Like
I don't think he's close enough, Larry.
Dam's got the line. Yep. Dam's able to stick. It's so hard to make that pass if you're on that left side. Dam's the smart one. Keep the inside line. If you're going to give anybody anything, always give them the left. Coming up the roller coaster, and he did. So we come across this time by. Should be white flag this time by. And this is it. We got one more time around this beautiful VIR course for these GTE cars, as well as the GT3s, which are back there. We know that back there, it's Mr. Bernie still. Kyle Bernie leading that field, but we've got a battle on our hands. Elvis Rankin trying to get the top spot back. A little bit of a slip through turn 1 for Mike Dam, but still holding that lead by the slimmest of margins over Elvis Rankin as they go through turn 3 into turn 4. It is tight.
All right, as they go through left hook now, still nose to tail. We've seen Rankin now make 2 attempts for the pass, both at the top of the roller coaster and also going through turn 1. He does appear to have slightly more pace, but there's one thing to be able to close up right onto the tail of the car behind you, or even pull up side by side. But if you don't have position going into some of these very tight sweeping corners here at VIR, it's not going to help you all that much as they come through South Bend here, and Dam just holds on, very defensive as he rolls down the hill. That's going to affect his speed on exit at Oak Tree, and as they roll out, you can see where Dam had to wrestle the car back from the curbing on exit. Yeah, good recovery there, and we'll see. I think Rankin
see if he does the same thing here.
See
if he does the same thing here and stays right, holds that defensive line, forcing Elvis to go to the outside. Can Elvis
does it again as they roll on through, and now Rankin really needs about a half a car length to make this stick, and he's got it. He's got that half a car length. He sticks it to the inside, and now with just about 3 turns left to go on this 17-turn course, can he hold on?
Dam is off.
Yep, Dam now off in the grass on the exit of
He's got a recovery to stay on that podium. But Elvis Rankin will come across and take victory on the last lap, coming down roller coaster to pass Mike Dam and take the win. Mike Dam is going to recover second.
Yeah, he had almost a 12-second gap back to Tony Kernan, who's going to take the car home in third. But
in this battle here, her fourth is going to go to Jennifer McDonald, just ahead of Nathan Manning in 5th. Travis Schwenke is going to come home in 6th.
And
right now, running Cameron Martineau still out there, but let's take a look at our GT3s.
And we didn't even see this. John Allen back up in the lead in GT3, managed to get around Bernie and the BMW as they rolled down. I think that's the
other Bernie, I think.
You're absolutely right. That's Jason Bernie, not Kyle Bernie.
Yep. think Kyle might have been, they might have been an extra lap down, but we're going to wait and see. But I do believe that exactly that was Jason Burney. Kyle Burney should be our winner there. But John Allen taking home a second spot. But wow, what a finish there, GTE.
Yeah.
Elvis Rankin was not able to make it stick on the second to last lap, able to get just like you said, he needed to get door to door, under braking, going into the top of the hill there before the roller coaster, was able to make that stick and make that pass on Mike Dam. And wow, what a rivalry we have between these two phenomenal drivers here in every series they run, but particularly here in these GTE cars. Fantastic racing here tonight. And this is only the first of two races. We still have a whole other race to go with the LMP2 cars tonight.
Absolutely. We've got the 40 minutes of LMP2 action coming up here in just a few moments as we now have those two Orion drivers side by side finishing up their cooldown lap here. Headlights of flashing, Elvis Rankin and Mike Dam finishing first and second here overall and in GTE. And there you go, as Dam takes to the pits, and Rankin taking his victory donuts right in front of the start-finish stand here at VIR.
So we'll get him, and we'll also get Kyle Burney down there to do their normal pose for the victors there at the start-finish line. All right, so with that, we're going to take just a short break. We'll come back with some interviews with our victors here in the first race of the Ricmotech World Challenge, GTEs and GT3s. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
What a race this has been. And 3 wide for the lead. Oh, we almost lost it. The official Road to Indy E-Series returning to iRacing Wednesday, 6:45 Eastern. Catch all the action live right here on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
All right, and we're back here for the Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. And great battle we just saw, Larry, both in GTE and GT3. And it is time to go to the interviews.
Absolutely. What great racing that we just had there. Amazing. This track always presents some great racing, and this Ricmotech series always presents some wonderful talent. And we're going to get a chance to talk to some of our great talent. And I think the first one that's going to be up tonight is going to be our winner of the GT3s. Man, that we didn't get to see much on camera tonight, because when you're winning your class by 12 seconds, you don't get to be on camera too much. We're going to get a chance to talk to Kyle Burney, the winner of our GT3s here tonight. Kyle, walk me through a little bit of your race, as you just sort of seem to be out there lapping by yourself for quite a bit of this tonight.
It was a uneventful race, which is a good thing at VIR. You touch the grass usually anywhere and you're off. So that was the goal for the day. Is just, keep it clean, don't touch the grass, and everything would have come home pretty well. So it was overall a great race.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed to be for you. I suspect you put in a little bit of work and setup and practice for this.
Yeah, I did, and it didn't take long to get a good setup, which was nice. And I love these really difficult and technical tracks that really challenge drivers, or tracks that I just absolutely love. So I kind of felt at home and in my place with a tougher track like this. But the setup work was good. It was great to bring home the win, and it was definitely great for my brother to come home in third. So overall, just a really good day.
Yeah, absolutely love to see that when the family's up there on the podium like that. So congratulations on that victory here tonight. Anybody that you'd like to thank?
Just you guys, thanks for good job putting on with the broadcast, and then for the organizers and admins of Ricmotech. They do a really great job running the whole thing, and obviously for all the other drivers on track, because this is one of the cleanest and nicest leagues that I've been in. So it's really good, really great group of guys.
All right, well, thanks, and congratulations again on the victory, and looking forward to seeing you at the next round.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kyle. All right, and so up next, we're going to bring in a guy who had the lead right up until it seemed the absolute last moment of the race, and had one heck of a battle going on with his teammates. Mike Dam, walk me through, I guess, that last lap, and then what's going through your mind as you got Elvis Rankin all over your bumper.
Oh yeah, this was leading up from probably the last 8 laps there after I made that little mistake there. So yeah, I knew once he was right on me, we were like pretty much identical in time. So he had that draft effect. I knew I wasn't going to be able to run away from him. Mm-hmm. And he was just kind of sizing me up for those last 2 laps, and he made those couple efforts there, and I couldn't defend the last one. So
yeah. You made a great defense on the previous lap. We thought maybe just one more shot, maybe you could defend him one more time, but he managed to just inch you a little bit. And then for a moment there, we thought you come down the roller coaster, you almost ended up out by the woods, it seemed. A little bit of panic there coming down that last couple of corners before the finish stripe.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of just shot nerves and just worn tires. I just totally blew that corner, but luckily I just had to get it back on track for second place. But
you and your teammate here have got quite a rivalry going. It seems like every week after each one of these, whether it's the Miatas, whether it's this, or whether it's the GT4s, seems like you guys are in this battle right up until the end. Are we going to be seeing this every single Monday night here throughout the season?
Oh, that's the hope. We work on setups together, so we're kind of we're on the same page, and I ain't leaving a door open for him, and he's not leaving a door open for me. So it's 100% full on fun there. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Love to hear that. Great race tonight. Still a great finish, coming home in second, and it's certainly no shame losing to a guy like Elvis, a teammate like that. So, congratulations for a great finish tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just all the guys who racing this series, the admins for putting it on, my team, Orion, Elvis for racing really clean and fast, man, and just you guys for putting this on.
Appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. All right, and I think let's see who else we've got here to talk with tonight.
We have Anthony Kernan, it looks like.
We do have Tony Kernan, if he would like to join us as well. He finished third tonight in the... We've got Tony Kernan to join us. He finished third in the GTE on the podium there. And interesting night for you as well. A bit of ups and downs, and get yourself on that podium. Walk me through a little bit of your race tonight.
Well, I got lucky mostly. A lot of fortunate things there at the beginning, and kind of a shame. Jennifer and I kind of were battling there for a while, and then she misjudged how slow I was going in the turn, and she lost it. But was hoping for a long battle, but after that, I had a lot of space between whoever it was behind me, Manning, and Jennifer caught back up. So I just wanted to hit my marks, and I knew I wasn't going to catch Mike and and Elvis. I seem to always be tagging right behind them guys lately.
Yeah, it's tough. It was a really tight battle thing. It seemed like a lot of attrition tonight, a lot of spaces given up, and those who were able to pounce on opportunities were able to take advantage of that and end up on the podium. And you might have been one of those, and there's certainly something to be said about keeping your nose clean and able to take up those spots. And you certainly did that tonight. But great finish for you, ending up on the podium here at VIR.
Thank you so much, guys.
So congratulations on that finish. And I think we'll get in here next. We've got our winner from GTE. We've got Elvis Rankin going to join us here. Elvis, I'm starting to talk to you a little bit too much. I think I talked to you a little more than I even talk to my own wife, Elvis. It seems every Monday night you and I have a little bit of a chat. What a race tonight. We're watching you pulling away from the field, but halfway through the race, we're thinking, oh, he's got this easy and clear. He's up by 4 and 5 seconds, and suddenly you're down 4 and 5 seconds. We had to go back and find the replay. Walk me through a little bit of that little bit of a mental lapse there that puts you a couple seconds down.
Well, first off, I am single, so I'm going to put that out there.
There
Second,
you go.
yeah.
It's date night for Larry.
Yeah, and second, that just a little mistake. I was noticing how Mike every single time through Oak Tree was just pulling consistently like a decent chunk of time. I was like, all right, that's where I'm losing all my time. I might as well try and push the braking zone just a tiny bit and tiny bit too much, lock the fronts up. And usually in the Porsche, whenever I lock the fronts, I try and apply more pressure just to see, because just in testing, it seems like it stops the car faster. But it does do the one thing that I didn't really think about in the moment, which was it doesn't let you turn. Yeah. So just went flying off the track. I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast, but I had to throw it in reverse and get the rear tires spinning and try and get it sideways, slow down. I mean, it was not an easy save. I thought I was for sure a goner. I was talking to Mike on the radio, and he was like, "You saved it? You didn't hit the wall?" I was like, "Yeah, didn't hit the wall, nothing." He's like, "Oh." And then, of course, 2 corners later, I'd do a little half spin. Just had to get the focus back, bank a rhythm. I knew I had this pace as him. I knew if traffic went my way, I could easily catch back up to him. And it's just, it was a fun race overall. I know me and him had a ball. So, yeah, great race.
Yeah, you guys definitely put on a great show in those closing laps, counting it down. Are you trying to make moves 3 and 4 minutes to the end, or you just know that you can make the move on the last lap?
I was going to make my move with 2 to go, and I tried it, and I kind of halfway realized, hey, if I know it might work next time by, then I'll try it the last lap. It's obviously just a last ditch effort, but it didn't work. And then I just, game plan was just to apply the pressure to him, try and maybe force him into a mistake. Didn't happen, but then I knew just needed a good oak tree. Got not a good oak tree. So I knew I might have been done, but I got to him and I was like, all right, do or die. I'm going to just go for it in the braking zone, and got the car to stick. And somehow left. I thought I was going to leave enough room, but left him enough room, and then came out on top tonight.
Yeah, super clean racing between you guys, as always. The show you put on last week, same thing. Every week you guys put on a great show. Nothing less than that tonight. Brilliant racing to watch. Look forward to it every week. So congratulations on another victory here tonight for you, Elvis. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Oh, for sure. I'd like to first off thank our Ryan race team. They've just been supporting me throughout whenever I joined the team, and they've been super supportive. I'd like to thank Frosty St. Clair for being an amazing manager. I must also thank Travis Schwenke tonight. Especially, he painted the new RSRs for myself and Mike Dam, so big thanks to him for making us look good out there. I'd like to thank our team sponsors, HPP Pedals and Mark, and then Joel Real Timing, and then Joel. Without our team sponsors, we wouldn't be where we are today, so thank you to those guys. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa for just supporting me with all kinds of racing and everything that I do. And I'd also like to thank Extreme 99 and the admins tonight. Rick, who owns Extreme, thank you to him. Kevin, the main admin, we couldn't do it without Kevin, so thanks, Kevin. Jeff, and then Ryan. Without all those guys, we wouldn't be here today, and we wouldn't have had amazing couple of years in Extreme history, so I'm super glad I get to be here currently. I'd like to also thank you guys at Apex Racing TV and Greg and Larry for broadcasting the whole thing, and then the behind-the-scenes crew of Alex and Dennis. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elvis. All right.
All right. So I was going to say that's Elvis Rankin. Now we have, Larry, one more person. He's been sitting patiently waiting for you, waiting for us. We're going to bring him into the announce booth here, and
or are we?
Well, it looks like he got sick of waiting.
There he is. It's John Allen.
Yeah, there it is. There he is.
Hey, John.
Evening, gents.
Hey. So tonight's a good finish for you there, up on the second step there in GT3. Not quite the pace that Kyle Bernie was able to put down tonight, but holding off the rest of this really tough field in the GT3 group. What's your thoughts on this track and the challenge that VIR has in the GT3 car?
It was extra so tonight. I will. This was just a race entirely about knowing my limitations. I got about 10 laps of practice earlier in the week, and then walked in the door during the drivers' meeting tonight. So I was glad to get a lap in during qualifying, because on my other laps I spun, and hit a tire wall. So I just took
we may have seen a couple of your qualifying laps on camera, in fact. So
great, fantastic.
Just about all of them, yes.
Well, then you saw it was an eventful time, but
Yes.
getting a clean one in was all I could hope for. And then I made the decision that even though it's not maybe great for the track, because I was so much more familiar after running many, many laps practicing for the Daytona 24, I threw a Daytona set in there since I hadn't had time to build one. And let me tell you, that one setting on the wing is terrifying around here. So it had top end speed, but that's the only reason I held Jason off, because every time he got to me in the twisties, I could keep him out of the, a draft pass on the straights, and then inherited a couple freebies with the spins in front. So I knew I wasn't going to catch Kyle, but I did notice he got comfortable there. And by the end of the race, I got comfortable enough. I took my stab on the second to last lap at my fast lap bonus points, and I think I snagged that from him. So I will take that as the only strategy I had to play.
Well, it's a good finish. You had the win in the first round. Getting a second place here is going to get you some good points going forward, and that's always a good thing in a long season ahead. So good job there for you, and I'm sure you're looking forward to continuing on in this points battle. It's going to be a long season.
That it is. Playing it smart as possible.
Yeah. All right, well, good finish for you tonight, John, and looking forward to see you in the next round. Is there anybody you would like to thank for this race tonight?
It often goes unsaid, but shouldn't. I appreciate my wife Amy tolerating this hobby and hanging with you yahoos. So this is a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
Amy.
Yeah, exactly.
Accurately described.
So you guys have a good night. Good seeing you.
Thanks, John. So great. I love talking to a lot of our winners. They're the ones that always had a good time, and really enjoying this time here. So with that, we've got a whole nother race to do. We've got our LMP2 cars coming up. But before we do that, we are going to take a short break, kind of reset things a little bit. And when we come back, we will bring you qualifying here from VIR for the Ricmotech World Challenge. And we will have the LMP2 cars coming up in just a minute.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
What a race this has been. And 3 wide to the lead. Oh, we almost lost it.
The official Road to Indy E-Series returning to iRacing Wednesday, 6:45 Eastern. Catch all the action live right here on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
What a race this has been. And 3 wide for the lead. Oh, he's almost lost it.
The official Road to Indy E-Series returning to iRacing Wednesday, 6:45 Eastern. Catch all the action live right here on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
What a race this has been. And 3 wide for the lead. Oh, he's almost lost it.
The official Road to Indy E-Series returning to iRacing Wednesday, 6:45 Eastern. Catch all the action live right here on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
All right, and we are back with the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge presented by Performa Elite Texas Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg, joined by Larry McLeod. And Larry, we just had that amazing GTE GT3 battle. And next up on the docket, LMP2.
Yes, LMP2 with the fast cars, and this is going to be interesting. So tonight, whereas 3 weeks ago when we raced under the lights at Daytona, we had our LMP2 cars mixed in with the GTEs and the GT3s because at a track like Daytona and the big long ovals that have the big long straightaways, it lends itself to great passing places with these huge speed deltas. Here at VIR, well, really, Madison Avenue being the only place you probably could have that kind of passing, they felt let's have 2 sprint races and let these LMP2 cars have their day by themselves. And well, here we go. We're going to have that. However, we're a bit limited on entries. Looks like we've only got 5 cars signed up. But I suspect that the battle that we had last time out with that 75-minute race in Daytona was pretty intense. I suspect we're going to have a pretty intense race here tonight. But because these guys are qualifying pretty tight as the qualifying order.
Yep, I see AC Simpson received throughput fell to an unacceptable level.
That's never good.
Yeah.
Oh. His internet went doo-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, TeamSpeak's fine.
I knew I shouldn't have talked so much.
All your fault.
All right, let's see. Well, we've got about 3.5 minutes left to go in qualifying.
But one thing to note about that drive-through, one of the things that actually did happen the last time, Arthur Chan was the only one who